Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Dean, distinguished guests, respected scholars, respected chairpersons, and participants. I am Shamsanur, the faculty member from the Department of Political Science, Lahore College, Women University, and I extend a warm welcome to all of you at the auspicious inauguration ceremony of the 2 days International Conference on Contemporary Trends in South Asian Politics, organized by the Department of Political Science, Lahore College, Women University. Before commencing this ceremony, I would invite Ms. Shanzabakar for the recitation of Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. It is an honor to gather here today at Lahore College, Women University, an institution established in 1922, epitomizes the essence of academic brilliance, cultivating a legacy of excellence in women's education, empowerment, and progress. Nestled within the academic fabric of this institution, the Department of Political Science stands as a bastion for shaping the minds of future leaders and change makers. Firstly, I would like to introduce Conference Chair, Professor Dr. Shagufta Naz, the worthy Vice Chancellor of Lahore College, Women University. She is also serving as a Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, Director of Advanced Studies and Research Board. She has received a meritorious award in year 2019 by SWU and the Research and Productivity Award consecutively for 5 years by Pakistan Science and Technology. She will join us later. Our co-chair of the conference is Professor Dr. Muhammad Afzal. He is a Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and Professor of Economics at Lahore College, Ferman University. He has also served as a member in the Department of Economics in University of Punjab. He is the member, Academic Council, Syndicate, Advanced Studies and Research Board and Board of Studies. Please welcome him to join us on stage. Our keynote speaker for the conference today is Professor Dr. Hassan Asri Rizvi. He is a Pakistani political scientist and as a Professor Emeritus of Political Science at the University of Punjab. He is noted for his work in comparative politics, nuclear weapons and national policy. He has been awarded with Sitara Imtiaz in 2010 for his remarkable services by the government of Pakistan. I am honored to welcome him on stage. Our another distinguished guest speaker is Professor Dr. Khalid Manzoor Butt. He is a Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences in the University of Central Punjab, Lahore. He is an accomplished academician who has served as Chairperson, Department of Political Science and Dean of Arts and Social Sciences at GCU, Lahore. He is an expert of human rights, social development and politics of Indian Ocean. I welcome him to join on stage and occupy his respected place. Thank you. Our next distinguished guest speaker is Professor Dr. Iram Khalid. She is the chairperson of the Department of Political Science, Lahore, with having an experience of 23 years. Dr. Iram has deep interest in national security, water politics in South Asia, Thank you so much, ma'am, to embrace us on stage with your gracious presence. Our last guest speaker is Mr. Mujibur Rahman Shami, a renowned Pakistani journalist and columnist. He is also the chief editor of Daily Pakistan newspaper and founder of Zindagi magazine and Qawmi Digest. I request him to join on stage. I request Conference Secretary Dr. Aisha Shehzad, the Head of Department of Political Science, I feel honored and privileged to introduce our foreign experts, Dr. Joanna, Associate Professor of Sociology, University of Warsaw, and Chairperson of Association of Memory Studies, and Dr. Christina Harwood from the Department of Politics, Languages and International Studies. I express my heartfelt gratitude for sharing their valuable experience and insights through their pre-conference lectures and having a wonderful experience at Lahore College, Ferman University. So, they could not attend the inauguration ceremony and left us earlier, but they will join us virtually tomorrow and grace us with their presence. Furthermore, it is a pleasure to have our esteemed scholars from Jagiellonian University, Poland, from Heidelberg University, Germany, and from University of Ghent, Belgium. Now, Now, we are going to present the digital projection of the entire journey of the Department of Political Science to our esteemed scholars and guests.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Dr. Sanwar and I'm here to introduce you to the history of Department of Political Science. The Department of Political Science is a phenomenal history in terms of its great extension of various disciplines, graduate and postgraduate programs. The journey started with the introduction of civics in Lahore College during the pre-partition era. Later, Political Science Department was established in 1979. The department was flourished by compassionate staff who were committed to maintain the legacy of excellence and discipline. Lahore College was awarded with University Charter in 2002. The two other programs were introduced in 2005, Pakistan Studies and International Relations respectively. We take this pride that our alumni have been working in diverse fields, including mass communication, mass media, civil service, civil society, and education sector. Department is envisioned with updated scheme to meet the challenges in the age of digitalization and modernization. Thank you.
Department of Political Science is proudly producing PhDs and contributing in the ranking of Lahore College for Women University. We are extending our academic and professional linkages with prestigious and renowned organizations like PILDET, MILTER, DAI, which is working under the US aid program. We are establishing the trends of digital politics as opinion leader. We have envisioned department with a sense of development, competency, consistency, and empowerment.
I'm Dr. Aisha Shahzad, Chairperson, Political Science Department. We are profoundly conducting first international conference on contemporary trends in South Asian politics. We particularly chose this area due to its volatility in terms of geopolitics and prevailing ethno-nationalistic tendencies in this region. We hope that this remarkable event will provide a tremendous opportunity to our students while having interaction with competent academia and eminent scholars. And here I must express gratitude to our foreign collaborators, especially Dr. Christina and Dr. Joanna from Pune.
I am here in the Lahore College of Women University in Lahore, Pakistan. I have been invited here to deliver a pre-conference lecture and I am here from the University of Bath, England, where I teach French politics. This pre-conference lecture was very interesting for me because it was very well received by faculty members and students. I received many interesting questions and we had a very fruitful debate. So this makes me think that this is a really vibrant environment which will be a perfect setting for the forthcoming first international conference in contemporary trends in South Asian politics. I unfortunately won't be here at that time in Pakistan anymore, but I will follow the conference online and I will continue to engage in discussions and debates triggered by this really interesting and timely conference.
Hello, my name is Joanna Wawrzyniak. I'm an associate professor of sociology at the University of Warsaw, Poland. I'm also the president-elect of the International Memory Studies Association. It was a great pleasure and honor for me to deliver a pre-conference lecture to the students of the Political Science Department of the Lahore College for Women University. Your institution has a remarkable history of excellence in teaching and the reputation of one of the best women's universities in Pakistan. My experience of interacting with the students of political science has been so far fantastic. It's a great honor for me to be a part of this conference on contemporary trends in South Asian politics. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Professor Dr. Muhammad Afzal for his welcome address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's a moment of great pleasure for me as Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences and Conference Co-Chair to extend a warm welcome to galaxy of social scientists, political experts, analysts and media persons. Warm welcome to International Conference Chair Professor Dr. Shagufta Naz, Vice Chancellor, Lahore College, Farouk University, Lahore. Honorable guest speakers, Professor Dr. Hassan Askari Sahib, Professor Dr. Khalid Manzoor Bhatt Sahib, Professor Dr. Idam Khalid Sahiba, Mr. Mujibur Rahman Shami, a renowned journalist and analyst. All honorable deans, directors, CODs, faculty members and students in this 2 days international conference on the topic Contemporary Trends in South Asian Politics. 7 themes of the 2-day conference are Postmodernist Discourse in South Asia, Foreign Policy and Narrative Building in South Asia, Politics and Social-Economic Challenges in Pakistan, Ethnicity and Nationalism in South Asia, Challenges to Democracy in Pakistan, Women, Religion and Minority in South Asia, a strategic competition in South Asia. Having a population of about 2 billion, that is 25% of the total world population, South Asia is most vulnerable region to climate changes, water scarcity, food security, energy security, smuggling, armament race, peace and security, and fair and free election in India, Bangladesh and Pakistan. The main objective of conducting this event is to highlight emerging issues in hotspot region of the world, that is of South Asia, with experts' opinion and plausible suggestions and solutions. This international conference would provide an opportunity to get familiar with the multiple dimensions of South Asian politics. Our worthy speakers and searches will deal the issue with the wonderful approaches. I hope this event will provide an extensive platform to the participants to exchange this valuable research in the field of South Asian politics. I pay high regard to all our honorable guests, faculty members, for sparing their precious time to grace this international conference. In the end, I wholeheartedly congratulate the Department of Political Science, Department Chair, Dr. Asha Shahzad, faculty members and students for this commendable initiative to engage credible academia and students to glorify this institution. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I would request Professor Dr. Hassan Askari Rizvi to grace us with his insightful words.
The Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, colleagues on the main table, the faculty and the scholars, guests and the students. I feel highly honored to be part of this conference because in the academic life, these kind of conferences are, important. They are not only an intellectual exercise, but also highlight the issues which are important at a particular point of time. And these conferences provide an opportunity to discuss the issues, share ideas, and through sharing your ideas, you tend to develop your ideas. And these kind of conferences serve the the primary purpose of a university. Because the primary purpose of a university is promotion of academic dialogue and also creation of new knowledge. And these kind of intellectual exercises do contribute to creating new knowledge, because that's what is the difference between a university and a degree college. In college, the focus is on giving degrees, teaching and giving degrees. In university, in addition to teaching and giving degrees, you work for promotion of new knowledge, and this kind of academic conference will contribute to that. In my brief presentation on South Asia, as an introductory remarks, I will briefly talk about South Asia's historical evolution, its importance and relevance today. What are the current directions or current trends in politics, and what are the future challenges and issues that we face today in South Asia. South Asia constitutes about 22% of world population. However, it comprises only 3.5% of the land mass of the world. If you put these two things together, what you achieve is the notion of high population in South Asia, in all South Asian countries. And all South Asian countries have youth population between 18 to 35 years, which constitutes the majority of population of all South Asian, 7 or 8 South Asian countries. So they have the issue of dealing with what we in technical terms describe as the youth bulge. This poses a challenge to all South Asian governments, including Pakistan, because the challenging task is how to secure their future, give them hope, that is to youth, give them hope for a better future, and also enhance and strengthen their confidence in the political system. And you can achieve that objective only by dealing with the issues that pertain to society. Therefore, in whole of South Asia, we have strong pressure for human development and societal welfare. And also, there are issues of environmental quality, good governance, and economy. These are the challenges that are being faced by all South Asian governments, and unfortunately, their performance, all governments' performance, is not really up to the requirements or up to the challenges that you face at the societal level. There is a challenge of societal decay. There is a challenge of societal degeneration that we face in South Asia. And South Asia is a region of contradictions. On the one hand, you have highly affluent people, the rich classes. On the other extreme, you find poverty, underdevelopment, and other social and economic problems. Another contradiction, on the one hand, you have highly professional, qualified, technically advanced individuals in all South Asian countries, especially in India and Pakistan. Highly professional, competent, qualified people who perform not only in their own country, but also elsewhere at the international system. On the other hand, you have illiteracy which is high in South Asia. Literacy is between 55% to 75%. It varies from country to country. The only exception to this data or this figure is Sri Lanka, where literacy is over 90%, 94 to 95%. And in other South Asian countries, you find large number of children out of, schools. All South Asian states subscribe to democracy, and when we talk of democracy, I think year 2008 has been very important for South Asian countries, because in 2008, Bhutan adopted the notion of limits on the role of the monarch, and they introduced competitive electoral system in 2008. The same happened in the state of Maldives. They adopted more liberal democratic system in 2008 onwards. In fact, yesterday when I was watching news, they showed a clip of what happened yesterday in Maldives Parliament, and the members were fighting with one another in the house. So that's also another dimension when scuffles break out in the Parliament. And Nepal, another important country, in 2008, Nepal discarded monarchy and adopted a republican system. However, in all these South Asian countries, there is a problem of quality of democracy. There is a problem of quality of democracy. What you see in these South Asian countries, a kind of democratic deficit, a kind of dichotomy between theoretical principles of democracy, social justice, equality, and the ground realities that you find in all these South Asian countries. There is a lot of diversity in South Asia. That has to be recognized. The only comparable continent to South Asia in terms of linguistic, ethnic, and other kinds of diversity is Africa, where you find more diversity. But Africa is a bigger continent than South Asia. Therefore, when we talk of ethnic, linguistic, and religious diversity, the policies are influenced by three principles. That is, how do these states respond to these principles will determine the way these countries will deal with diversity that exists in South Asia. One, nationalism is important, because all these states have problem with national integration and national harmony. National integration or nationalism is important. However, when nationalism moves from nationalism to ultra-nationalism, it promotes intolerance. And intolerance is a major obstacle to creating national harmony. Similarly, religion is a positive force. But if you go to religious and cultural intolerance, the positiveness is pushed to the background. Similarly, extremism and terrorism are also kind of challenges which these states face. Therefore, the challenge and the question that we need to examine about South Asia is to what extent these states have created a plural or pluralist society. However, South Asia is a region in the world with glorious cultural heritage. South Asia is a repository of oldest civilization. We can talk about Indus Valley civilization, one of the oldest civilization. Mehergarh in Balochistan, the Mehergarh archaeological sites are also almost 5,000 years old, and that links you with the past. In addition to that, the heritage of Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism heritage is an important part of the history of this region, and also Gandhara and the Muslim and the Mughal civilizational heritage. All these are important dimensions, and I am just briefly mentioning them so that I stay in time. You know, in old Persian writings, this region, which is now South Asia, was described as Hind Sindh, and all those people who lived there in the Persian writings are described as Hindus, no matter what was their religion. And word India was derived from Indus, river Indus. So Pakistan should be proud of the fact that the whole idea of the notion of India comes from river Indus. And until the British came, these different parts of the region used to be named differently. It was only under British that the term India, British India, or later on Indo-Pakistan subcontinent became, very popular. And this term South Asia, although existed all the time, but this became a popular notion only after 1971, because Bangladesh came into being, and then they were talking about South Asia. Then the modern state institutions that most of these South Asian states have, India, Pakistan, especially India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, even Maldives, all these modern state institutions, the bureaucratic structure, the modern infrastructure of the state was inherited from British colonial system by these countries. So all our legal system, they go back to that time. And in terms of geography, South Asia is described as the fulcrum of Asia, where China, Soviet Union, now Russia meet, and US has always maintained a strong or deep interest in this region. In the British time, the India-Afghan border, which is currently Pakistan-Afghan border, was described as the border of the British Empire vis-a-vis Soviet Union or Russia. During the Cold War era, the proximity to the Soviet Union was a major factor that attracted American interest in the region. And in the post-Cold War era, or in the present era, South Asia is important because it links three different regions: Central Asia, Middle East or Western Asia, and China. Therefore, its future is seen in terms of trade, energy corridor, and also tourism. However, the full advantages of this geographic location for South Asia have not been materialized for a number of reasons. India is the largest country with biggest economy in South Asia, and also it's a bigger military power than Pakistan. All other South Asian countries have weaker military. And the problem that India faces, which has implications for other South Asian countries, is that India wants to transform its preeminence into overlordship of South Asia. India would like to play what others would describe as hegemonic aspirations. And India's policy regarding South Asia has been that the states of South Asia should harmonize their policies with the foreign policy of India. They should not adopt any policy that contradicts India's policy, and other states that want to interact with the states of South Asia should go through India. That's the kind of model that India aspires to, and this model, the hegemonic model for power structure in South Asia, is questioned by Pakistan. Pakistan, talks about a pluralist power structure rather than one state dominating South Asia, a pluralist power structure which has respect for independence and policy autonomy of the South Asian states. That's what Pakistan has been talking about. And that pluralist power structure is to be evolved through mutual consultation, through regional harmony, through an understanding amongst the states. Therefore, you have a kind of divergence in the way South Asian affairs should be managed between India and Pakistan. Therefore, an important problem which has implications for today and for tomorrow is that there is no shared perception of regional security in South Asia. Security is against one another. There is a lot of distrust of India amongst the smaller states, although they don't really speak so loudly because they can run into difficulties. Pakistan is the only country that, takes a stand. Therefore, you have weak regional cooperation in South Asia. I think these things will be discussed in detail in the regular session, so I just emphasize them. The South Asian states have more interaction outside the region. So the states of South Asia have more interaction outside the region than within the region. Therefore, SAARC has not been an effective organization. In fact, SAARC Summit Conference has not been held since 2014 because the 19th conference was to be held in Islamabad in November 2016. It could not be held because India's Prime Minister Modi refused to visit Pakistan. And since then, only because of India's refusal to come to Islamabad, no South Asian Summit Conference has been held. So it's pending since 2016. And another point that I want to mention before concluding, that India-Pakistan conflicts have the strongest impact on regional politics or politics of South Asia. In fact, regional organization and SAARC have become hostage to India-Pakistan conflict, especially the policies that India has been adopting towards Kashmir, especially from August 2019. And the divergence on this issue has been a major factor that impacts, the region. Other important points that are important to be considered during the session: issue of refugees and human migration is a challenge to all South Asian countries, to Pakistan as well. We have not only Afghan but also other refugees. And the final point is, with which you are all familiar, but that needs to be mentioned, that is dynasties. There are political dynasties in South Asia. It's not simply Pakistan that we are talking about. Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. In fact, in Sri Lanka, because most of us are not familiar with Sri Lanka, Their Saranaikes and Bandhanaikes were dominating. At one time, the United National Party in Sri Lanka used to be described as uncle-nephew party. But nevertheless, this is an important aspect that you need to consider so far as the future directions are concerned. The question of India-Pakistan relations and non-resolution of the Kashmir problem will have and will continue to have negative impact on the development of regionalism in South Asia. Therefore, the challenge for future is how to improve relations between India and Pakistan within the framework of a fair and just solution of the Kashmir problem. And second issue for future is how to promote regional harmony. In fact, I may mention very quickly, it is not easy job to fly from Pakistan to some of the capitals of South Asian countries. You don't have direct flights to several South Asian capitals from here. Third question that we need to consider for future is the issue of human and societal development. How to serve the common man, how to improve the quality of life in South Asia where you have poverty in all countries. And the final point is that another important challenge for South Asian countries is in the context of US-China rivalry, how can South Asian states play an effective role? And this challenge is more profound for Pakistan, that how can Pakistan maintain a balance in the framework of China-US confrontation. So I would conclude my presentation by saying that South Asia is a complex region, a region with challenges and opportunity, and to me, the focus of South Asian states should not be the state. The focus should be human beings, the welfare of the human being. And if we shift our focus to human welfare and human betterment, I think some of the problems that exist within South Asia, especially between India and Pakistan, they may start diffusing, and we need to pursue a policy of pluralism and political, social and cultural accommodation. Thank you.
Indeed, it was an honor to hear his insightful words. Thank you so much, sir. All of you, please take a moment to welcome the conference chair and the worthy Vice Chancellor of Lahore College Formal University, Professor Dr. Shagufta Naz. Your presence has added an immense value to this conference. Thank you for joining, ma'am. Now, please join me to welcome Professor Dr. Khalid Manzoor Bhatt for sharing his expertise.
Dr. Shagufta Naz, Vice Chancellor, Lahore College University. Professor Dr. Afzal, Dean, Arts and Humanities. Mujibur Rahman Shami Sahab, great philosopher and intellectual. Dr. Hassan Askari, Rizvi, my teacher, my mentor. Dr. Iram Khalid, Head Political Science Department, Punjab University. And Dr. Aisha Shehzad, Head of Political Science Department, Lahore College University. First of all, I thank Dr. Aisha Shehzad for giving me this opportunity to share my views with brilliant girls of Lahore. And again, this is a very important topic, what she had chosen. I know holding a conference is not an easy task, but I congratulate Dr. Aisha and her team that they have made a brilliant conference, and such activities should continue in a university. I just want to say before I give my presentation, I want to talk to you on three different things. Conference means then you invite different ideas from different parts of the world and your country. And conference teaches us that we should listen others' point of view. And particularly about young political scientists, they should agree to disagree. They should respect views of others, and I think dialogues with argument is the best solution of any problem. So, we should discuss things without emotional things and without personal liking and disliking. We should discuss things with rational grounds and with arguments. So my topic of presentation is external and internal challenges for CPAC in Pakistan's perspective. You know, CPAC is a topic which has been discussed all over the world and particularly in South Asia. And generally in Pakistan, we have listened so many praises about CPAC. But remember, political scientists should have a critical analysis. Instead of just falling in love anything, we should have analyzed things on rational grounds. So my topic is external and internal challenges for CPAC in Pakistan's perspective. As you all know, regional integration is not a new phenomenon, but with the advancement in means of communication and transportation, it has fastened manifold because of its competitiveness and swiftness. CPAC offers many business and economic openings for South Asia particularly, and is expected to be an exemplary trade network with improved infrastructure and services. Since its inception, various regional countries were attracted because of its economic benefits. However, some regional and extra-regional countries have perceived CPAC as a challenge to their political interest, particularly in Asia. CPAC provides a trade mechanism for sub-regions like South Asia, Southeast Asia, Central Asia, and Middle East. The cornerstone of CPAC is Pakistan because she has been confronting serious economic problems and seems on the verge of default. However, it is considered that the CPAC can bring not only prosperity but also give strategic strength to Pakistan. Moreover, it would also tighten the economic and strategic grip of China in Asia, which would not be easily digestible for USA and India, because it would challenge their political motives, particularly in South Asia. As external factor, India explicitly and USA implicitly are creating hindrances in the way of CPAC, which are indeed serious challenges. There are also some internal challenges in Pakistan, like unstable government, security issues, Afghan problem, terrorism, attack on Chinese personnel and installations to disrupt the CPAC, which can demotivate China for the investment in Pakistan. It goes without saying that the combination of external and internal problems have posed serious challenges to the success and stability of CPAC. This project would certainly improve business activities, infrastructure, services, employability, and economic health and create a win-win situation for some South Asian countries. This region is known to have many persistent problems like poverty, unemployment, child labor, low living standards, and insufficient medical facility. Hence, CPAC might help them to pull out of this vicious circle. This is the map of Pakistan, and you can see two route of CPAC, western route and eastern route. Next. First, I will like to discuss external challenges for CPAC. Hegemony of USA in Indian Ocean. USA has interest in Indian Ocean like navigating the trade, safeguarding and streamlining the regional balance, and controlling the oil and gas flow. USA not only controls the important choke points in Indian Ocean, but also establish military bases in Indo-Garcia and Persian Gulf. USA along with other regional powers like India, Japan and Australia is trying to counter Chinese influence in Indian Ocean. Moreover, the presence of 7th Fleet of USA and formidable blue water navy of India would not only give smooth sailing to China in Indian Ocean. It goes without saying that USA perceived that CPAC would give more strategic and political advantage to China, which would be a threat to her interest in Indian Ocean. Next. The Indian Ocean is a crucial to materialize the dream of India to be a greater Bharat. India has extensive maritime interests, including trade routes, energy resources, and maritime security. Growing Chinese presence and influence in the Indian Ocean region have been perceived as a threat by India, and she has started to counter it through different strategies, including agreements with other countries to establish naval bases in the Indian Ocean, like in Mozambique, Madagascar, and Mauritius, and by joining Quad dialogue. Growing tension would make Indian Ocean an unstable region and disrupt its balance of power, which could be detrimental for CPAC in future. Quad security dialogue and undeclared alliance against China. The Quad, known as Quadrilateral Security Dialogue, is a strategic forum that brings together 4 democratic countries in the Indo-Pacific region: the United States, Japan, Australia, and India. The Quad has understood by many commentators as a counterbalance to Chinese growing influence in Indian Ocean. Though the Quad seems a loose alliance or understanding of those powers which do not have cordial relations with China, and moreover they can join hands against China in a critical situation that can be risen in future. Politics of South China Sea. South China Sea is a vital waterway connecting the Pacific Ocean to Indian Ocean, facilitating trillions of dollars worth of trade each year. US-China rivalry originated from the rise of China when US starting to perceive China as a threat to its dominance in the globe. To keep hegemonic supremacy, USA got the support of some regional powers like South Korea and Japan. USA and China have conflicts of interest in Indian Ocean as well as in South China Sea, and in case situation worsens in any region could have a corresponding effect on the other region. Is CPAC a debt trap? Some critics have viewed that the loan provided by China for CPAC projects carry high interest rates, potentially adding to the financial burden on Pakistan. There are concerns about the over-investment, misallocation of resources, and the ability to executing a project to generate sufficient economic returns to repay the loans. The same kind of apprehension is shown in the case of Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and other countries involved in BRI. On the other hand, there is an opinion that CPAC has the potential to boost Pakistan's economy through increased trade, provision of services, investments, and industrial development. There are of the view that the improved infrastructures services, and connectivity would attract foreign investments, stimulate economic activities, and enhance Pakistan's competitiveness in the region. Afghan issue. The Afghan situation has not been settled so far, and it would remain a constant threat to Pakistan's security and peace. Thus, such volatile circumstances could discourage China and other stakeholders to invest in Pakistan. Unless or until the CPEC routes are not made secure, it could not gain success and stability. Internal challenges for Pakistan. Number one is security issues. Amongst all security issues, terrorism is the biggest internal challenge for Pakistan. The TTP has undertaken terrorist activities and targeted security forces, particularly which created a fearful environment that hampered foreign investment. TTP, ISI and BLA are serious threats to the security and progress of CPEC. And you can see the figure, a terrorist attack taken place in 2022 and it has increased in 2023. Next. Another internal problem is that red tapeism and corruption. There is involvement of various provincial federal departments for the approval of the projects, causing undue delays, and on the other hand, bribery and corruption are also at the rampage in administration. With the combination of red tapeism and corruption, some of the projects, particularly undertaken by private sector, either have been slowed down or abandoned. Pakistan is unable to provide an investment-friendly environment, which is creating hurdle for CPEC. Lukewarm response of Imran Khan's government towards CPEC. Mr. Abdul Razak Dawood, advisor for commerce, industry and production from 2018 to 22, stated that government would review the CPEC. This in diplomatic language and culture, such statement from an official was quite harsh and went in bad taste for Chinese government. It is also heard that Imran's government shared CPEC confidential document with the IMF, which eventually ended up to USA. So such act have made China unhappy, and Pakistan's credibility in the eyes of China was compromised. It goes without saying that from Dharna 2018 that cancelled the Chinese president visit till the fall of Imran's government, during these years conditions were not conducive for CPEC. Environmental issue. This issue is generally ignored in Pakistan, but this is very important. It is estimated that CPEC will add approximately 51 million tons of carbon dioxide annually through its coal power projects, road infrastructure and vehicle trafficking. Out of 3/4 coal projects, it is pertinent to note that coal processing emits 3 to 4 times greater carbon dioxide emission as compared to oil and gas-based processing. It has been reported that around 54,000 fruit and forest trees have been chopped down in KPK in 2017. Not only that, nearly 1,70,000 trees are cut down every year to fulfill the need for fuel in Gilgit-Baltistan region, as well as acquired areas, land for CPEC related activity, leading to the melting of glacier and flooding. Vehicle trafficking is another major environmental concern under CPEC, particularly in northern areas of Pakistan. When CPEC will fully operational, it is expected that nearly 7,000 vehicles will commute on Karakoram highway per day, which will emit almost 36.5 million tons of carbon dioxide in region engulfed by glaciers. With the mounting of vehicles on KKH, the temperature of region will rise, leading to formation of glaciers, lakes, floods, and landsliding along the CPAC route. Such environmental issue can also be a big challenge for CPAC in the long run. Gawadar movement demanding rights. The people of Gawadar launched a protest movement demanding rights, Haq Do Tehreek, under the leadership of Maulana Hidayatullah Rahman. They have various concerns like illegal trawling in Gawadar's water, disrespectful behavior of security personnel, lacking of basic facilities like education, healthcare, electricity and drinking water, illegal abductions and unnecessary security checks for locals. Later, the arrest of Maulana added to the movement and it went serious. It can be said that local people have not been taken in confidence for handling matters of Gawadar by foreigners, and it will hamper the smooth running of CPAC. Now we will discuss conclusion and suggestions. These are certain points which should be undertaken for all stakeholders to make CPAC sustainable and successful. Internal and external challenges should be handled and addressed amicably. China and Pakistan should take appropriate measures to appease foreign powers diplomatically and present CPAC as an economic project that can be useful for poor South Asian countries. Normalizing the relation with India and engage her to be part of CPAC for the greater good would help Pakistan to make CPAC a success. China should fasten her efforts to engage Taliban government of Afghanistan and make them a partner in CPAC. No doubt, peaceful and stable government in Afghanistan is very much important for the smooth flow of trade and sustainable growth. Terrorism should be eradicated by involving these extremist organizations. China should play a more proactive role to engage them. In fact, without peace and stability, CPAC can't be obtained required result. For the project of CPAC, this should be a one-window operation to facilitate foreign investors and speedy decisions. It would not only reduce red tapeism and bureaucratic hurdles, but also minimize corruption, which has been a serious problem for CPAC projects. To tackle environment issues, a massive campaign of tree plantation should be undertaken. It is very much important that measures should be taken to keep the waters of the Gawadar Sea clean to save its aqua life. To decrease the use of coal for energy production and find its alternative. It is imperative that local people of Gawadar should be taken in the loop on priority basis and give respect and ownership while dealing with them. Their demand for basic rights, facilities and judicious economic opportunities should be ensured to realize them that they are equal and respectable citizens of Pakistan. Last but not least, political parties, federal government and provincial governments and other stakeholders should sign a charter for CPAC to make it acceptable for all and to make it successful by all means, because it has a potential and capacity to bring a qualitative change in the life of Pakistan people and the region. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
It was a pleasure to hear magnificent words from him. Now I would request Professor Dr. Iram Khalid to enlighten us with her spectacular thoughts.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. मैडम आपकी इजाज़त से एक बात सिर्फ कहनी है। बच्चों 1994 में मैंने यहाँ से अपने करियर का आगाज़ किया था। तो मैं आज असल में अपने मैके आई हूँ। Thank you so much. So firstly, I want to congratulate Vice Chancellor, University, Dean, Chairperson, and to very dear students. It's really great honor to speak in front of you and to share my very humble views, and specifically in the presence of Dr. Hassan Asfi. He is my teacher, and teacher always remains teacher, so I think it's really difficult to speak in front of a senior member. Then Dr. Khalid Saab, he is a good friend, very kind person. Then Dr. Aisha and Mujibur Rahman Shami Saab. So I here want to submit some of important points. That the first thing which I believe, that actually we live in a region. We talk about a region, but the people of South Asia, and specifically the leadership of South Asia, they do not behave like a region. So this is the basic problem, because the behavior of leadership, behavior of people, that is causing problems in this perspective. The theme of the presentation of mine is, because I am focusing on the politics of representation in South Asia, understanding Pakistan, India and Bangladesh elections of 2024. So my theme is to highlight some important common factors. Those are always practiced while conducting the elections, like voter participation, election transparency, political competition, the effectiveness of parliament and civil liberties. That how these trends actually play their role in the elections, and then specifically life between the elections, how it influences the life of the people and the region itself. My questions are, although I have raised 5 questions, but my focus will be that how political parties are creating a participatory political culture in this region. Because elections are the routine matter, but there is no democratic culture, democratic political culture in this region mainly. So why South Asian region is not enjoying that participatory political culture which create confidence among the people? That why people feel alienated from their own political systems, and why there are only leaders, those are strengthening instead of parliament or instead of people. So briefly introducing important points, my focus is that conduct of free and fair elections are crucial for democratic strength. It is a very common feature, but the quality of democracy is declining. So what's the reason of this quality of democracy? Why it is not getting strength? I think the role of civil society is actually weakening, and the involvement of people. But on the other hand, 2024 is regarded as the biggest election year throughout the world. Almost 70 countries will hold elections in their own countries, and like in this region that Bangladesh has already conducted, India and Pakistan, they will also have elections in the coming days. While reviewing this topic, or why I have selected this area, that there is lot of literature available on elections or the study of elections. but the comparative analysis is lacking. So that's why when I got the opportunity to present my views here, so I have selected this topic. The basic purpose is to not only to discuss some important or critical factors, but as well as to give some suggestions, because the purpose of the conferences is not only to share the idea, but conferences also provide a platform for the future research areas. So I'll share some realities, and then definitely I will share some suggestions too. While focusing on the case study of South Asia, elections in Bangladesh were boycotted by the main opposition, and the main feature was the protests, and then the voter turnout has created a big challenge to the legitimacy and the fairness of the elections. And in the case of Pakistan, we are nowadays listening the term of election engineering. But in the case of India, the personality of a specific leader and the policies of BJP, the biggest political party, their actions and their policies are creating challenges for civil liberties and specifically for the Muslim minority. So these are the basic main crux of the nature of elections in these three countries. Before discussing the important factors, I briefly want to connect you with the history that how these countries, though in the case of elections earlier they have conducted, like in the case of Pakistan, 1970 elections, actually the people faced, the society faced the polarization and the country lost half its part. Then the second elections in 1977, they led to the military rule. And then from 1985 to 2013, there was a mix of changes. Sometimes people were taking interest in the elections, but sometimes they felt that elections are not the actual key for the stability of Pakistan's political system. There are some other things. So despite all these realities, 2018 were the year when the new entries, when the new slogans were heard by the people of Pakistan, and they again started to taking interest, and their confidence was again initiated that there can be a change in the political system of Pakistan. But in the case of India, they enjoyed a regular, free, and to some extent, the fair elections. But still, the problem was that in the initial year, Congress-led elections were held, and the individuals dominated their politics. But after the demise of Nehru, Indian politics was also divided, and in 1980s, the coalition governments were established. But after that, 1990s till now, the rise of a specific extremist behavior was also a dominating feature in Indian politics in the name of BJP and the leadership of Modi. And while talking about Bangladesh, we can say that the regular turmoil at the political front, and the suppression of opposition, and then the people's behavior towards their political system, again and again challenged the legitimacy and the results of elections in Bangladesh. So, the Bangladesh also experienced a divided political culture and a disturbed political system. So, while talking about the current trends in 2024 general elections, now I really need the attention because I have only picked 5 main criteria, 5 main factors. The first is the voter behavior. When we see that what type of voter behavior was there in India, there are 2 very important points. Firstly, the issue of missing names, specifically among minorities and women, that is affecting the fairness of Indian elections, because almost 120 million names are missing in the lists of voters. So this is a great challenge. But on the other hand, the involvement of youth voter casting, that is remarkable in the case of India, as almost 60% youth cast their vote, almost 60%, and this is much more than the overall percentage of Indian vote casting ratio is. But in the case of Pakistan, when we talk about the voter participation, there is a gender gap registration is very much critical because the women vote registration is low, and that is a challenge. Then again, the persistent issue of low voter turnout, that is almost 41%. This is the percentage of all elections. So this is very much alarming, that why people don't believe in the elections. Whether people think that elections can't change their life, or whether elections can't improve their life. So this is a big challenge. And as in the case of Bangladesh, we can say that Bangladesh is still a case of chaos, because elections again are not giving the legitimacy to the political system because of the policies opted by the ruling group. The other important thing is that elections transparency. In India, although we have heard a lot about that India is the largest democracy of the world, but the involvement of elections bonds, that in India, people donate their funds through election bonds, and BJP is the greatest beneficiary of those bonds. So the transparency at the first part becomes a greatest challenge. Then, with the passage of time, the role of Indian Election Commission is also creating some questions. And in the case of Pakistan, we all are familiar that our election transparency has lot many questions, as I have discussed in my presentation in detail. And in Bangladesh, again, the same story. But elections are actually having a spirit of political competition. And political competition needs a fair environment. So in the case of India, Pakistan and Bangladesh, the question is that whether all the parties are having the fair environment or the free environment, for their campaign, for their nominations, for their other all matters. So this competition is almost under challenge and got negative score. The next point is the effectiveness of Parliament. From 1947 till 2024, when we want to understand the role of Parliament in these three countries, the question comes that whether the parliamentarians are spending time in the parliament sessions, whether they are launching debate in the parliament, whether the law-making procedures are fair, whether they have debates, the answers are very much alarming. I have showed the percentages of timings and other things, but the thing is that in the parliament and the effectiveness of parliament in all these three countries, it is very much problematic because the parliamentarians are not spending their fair time, productive time, the parliament sessions, the debates are not up to the mark. The last thing is the civil liberties. In India, the minorities, the female voters and many other groups, the ethnic groups, they are facing serious challenges. So I briefly want to say that the situation of civil liberties in India, Pakistan and Bangladesh is also under challenge. So now the point comes that what type of challenges are there in the elections 2024. When someone wants to comment on elections, the important criteria is that what after elections? If in the presence of political scientists, it is a very clear formula that if the elections cannot produce a stable political system, then definitely elections can create another challenge to the stability and security of the system and state. So in the case of Bangladesh, we have already experienced. In Pakistan's case, the situation is becoming nearer that what type and what life will be after the elections of 2024. A very critical point which I definitely want to share with you people, that while the political system of Pakistan formulated and established a special investment facilitation council, that council can be a limitation on the new or upcoming political government. So I here want to share some of my suggestions. If Pakistan and Bangladesh, they want to have a stable political system which can work for the human security and the society of these states, then there must be a truth commission in the parliament. A very first day, they must try to have the creation or to recommend a truth commission based on the members of the parliament. That truth commission can find out the reasons of political instability. In a real manner, because if we may not find clearly, openly, the reasons behind the instability, how the issue can be settled. So I, from this forum, really recommend a truth commission in the case of Pakistan. My second humble suggestion is that there must be a transparency in the legislature while passing or presenting laws, and specifically without any debate, when Parliament passes the laws and those laws implemented, then how can people of Pakistan can trust their parliamentarians and political system also? So the procedure and process of passing laws and the performance of Parliament, it is much needed some important reforms in this whole scenario. And while concluding my presentation, I just here want to say that as political scientists, the role of social media is getting alarming in the life of Pakistani people. There must be some responsibility by the government and by the other authorities while sharing information and while controlling information, because free and fair information is the base of political stability, and we need a stable Pakistan for political development as well as societal development, because this time, at this moment, may possible political system is moving forward, but our society is static. It is not moving forward. And this is the need of the time, that our society must have some energy, whether economic, whether political, but we want to move forward with a specific aim. Thank you.
Now I request Mr. Shami to share his remarkable ideas with us.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम व अला आलिहि व असहाबिहि अजमईन। जनाब मोहतरमा वाइस चांसलर साहिबा, साहिबान स्टेज और खातिन हज़रात, सबसे पहले तो मैं माजरत खा हूँ कि कुछ कम्युनिकेशन गैप हुआ और मुझे कल ही इस कॉन्फ्रेंस की तफसील जो है मालूम हो सकी, इसलिए मैं कोई पेपर नहीं लिख सका। और डॉक्टर साहब से मैंने कहा था तो उन्होंने कहा कि आप आ जाइएगा और ज़बानी बात कर लीजिएगा, तो इसलिए मैं हाजिर हो गया हूँ। पेपर मैं इंशाअल्लाह बाद में भिजवा दूँगा। जो पेपर्स यहाँ पढ़े गए हैं, जो गुफ्तगू हुई है, उसमें मैं कोई इजाफा तो नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन अगर हम मौजू को पेश नज़र रखें तो साउथ एशिया ये 7 मुल्कों पे मुश्तमिल इलाका था जब 1985 में सार्क की बुनियाद रखी गई ढाका में, اور بنگلہ دیش کے جو صدر تھے جنرل ضیاء الرحمان، انہوں نے اس کی تجویز پیش کی اور انہوں نے اس کی میزبانی کی، اور بعد میں پھر افغانستان کو بھی اس میں شامل کیا گیا، کیونکہ افغانستان جو ہے وہ سینٹرل ایشیا اور ساؤتھ ایشیا کے درمیان واقع ہے، اور لیکن بہرحال سارک کے ممالک نے یہ فیصلہ کیا یونانیمسلی کہ افغانستان کی درخواست جو ہے ساؤتھ ایشیا میں شمولیت کی اسے بھی قبول کر لیا جائے۔ جب سارک کی بنیاد رکھی گئی تو اس وقت پاکستان میں جنرل ضیاء الحق کی حکومت تھی، اور میں بھی اس کانفرنس میں اس وقت موجود تھا، سارک کی جو پہلی کانفرنس ہوئی ڈھاکہ میں۔ سارک ساؤتھ ایشیا کے ممالک کے درمیان ریجنل کوآپریشن کا ایک فورم تھا، اور اس وقت یہ بات طے کی گئی کہ جو بائی لیٹرل کانفلکٹس ہیں، جو ایشوز ہیں، جو دو طرفہ معاملات ہیں، وہ سارک کے فورم پر ڈسکس نہیں ہوں گے، یعنی دو ملکوں کے درمیان کے جو تنازعات ہیں وہ سارک میں ڈسکس نہیں کیے جائیں گے، اور اس طرح کوشش کی گئی کہ تنازعات کی لپیٹ میں آئے بغیر سارک جو ہے وہ ریجنل کوآپریشن کے لیے ایک فریم ورک مہیا کرے گی، اور یہ ممالک ایک دوسرے کے قریب آئیں گے اور معاشی تعاون ممکن ہوگا، اس طریقے سے ترقی کی رفتار تیز ہو سکتی۔ لیکن بدقسمتی سے ایسا ہو نہیں سکا۔ ابتدائی عرصہ تو کچھ عرصہ ایسا ہوا کہ سارک کے اجلاس بڑی دھوم دھام سے منعقد ہوئے، اور توقع کی جانے لگی کہ سارک ممالک کے درمیان یعنی ویزا فری آمد و رفت ممکن ہو جائے گی، نہ صرف لوگ آ جا سکیں گے بلکہ جو ان کی خاص طور پر میڈیا پروڈکٹس ہیں اور دوسرا سامان تجارت ہے وہ بھی آزادانہ اس کی نقل و حرکت ممکن ہوگی۔ لیکن بعد میں جو حالات پیدا ہوئے اور خاص طور پہ جو دہشت گردی کی لہر آئی، اس نے ایک نئے تنازعات کو اور نئی ٹینشنز کو جنم دیا، اور پاکستان اور بھارت کے درمیان معاملے اس حد تک خراب ہوئے کہ سارک جو ہے اس کی بھیٹ چڑھ گیا، اور اب ایک کئی سال سے اس کی سمٹ منعقد نہیں ہو سکی۔ تو یہ جنوبی ایشیا کے جو ممالک ہیں، زیادہ تر ممالک جو ہیں وہ برطانوی حکومت کے تابع رہے ہیں، انڈیا اور پھر پاکستان، بنگلہ دیش، سری لنکا، اور اس کے اثرات جو ہیں بھوٹان تک، مالدیپ تک، ان تک بھی پہنچے ہیں، اور افغانستان جو ہے ایک بفر اسٹیٹ کے طور پہ رہا، براہ راست برطانیہ کی حکومت یہاں قائم نہیں ہوئی۔ تو اگر آپ تاریخی پس منظر میں دیکھیں تو جو جنوبی ایشیا میں یہ کچھ ایک چوتھائی آبادی ہے پوری دنیا کی، لیکن اس کی جو اکانومی ہے، اس کا سائز جو ہے دنیا کی اکانومی، اس کا جو کنٹریبیوشن ہے وہ 10% سے بھی کم ہے، اور اب यहाँ एक डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस जो है उसकी अहमियत और ख़ास तौर पर पार्लिमानी जमहूरियत जो है उससे एक मोहब्बत या ताल्लुक जो है वो विरसे में मिला है बरतानवी राज से हमें। अब देखिए ये जो इलाका है इसमें इसकी जो मैं जब इस पर गौर करता हूं इसमें एक बड़ी एक बात यानी मुझे परेशान करती है कि इस इलाके में इंटॉलरेंस, अदम तहम्मुल, एक दूसरे को बर्दाश्त ना करना, ये एक बहुत एक गालिब एक मामला है। और ये जो अदम तहम्मुल है इसी ने पाकिस्तान को तख्लीक किया। अगर सब कॉन्टिनेंट की जो मेजॉरिटी थी, हिंदू मेजॉरिटी, वो मुसलमान मिनॉरिटी के साथ किसी कॉम्प्रोमाइज पे आ जाती तो शायद पाकिस्तान को तख्लीक करने की जरूरत महसूस ना होती, क्योंकि मुसलमानों के जो हकूक हैं उनके तहफ़्फ़ुज़ को मुत्तहिदा हिंदुस्तान में यकीनी नहीं बनाया जा सका, इसलिए पाकिस्तान का क़याम मुमकिन हुआ। और ये इंडियन लीडरशिप यानी कांग्रेस, मुस्लिम लीग और अंग्रेज जो हुकूमत थी, तीनों के दरमियान इत्तफाक़ राय से ये तक़सीम अमल में आई। लेकिन अगर ये टॉलरेंस लेवल जो है मौजूद होता एक, तो फिर शायद आज भी हम एक बड़े वफाक का हिस्सा होते और जो ग्रुपिंग स्कीम है उसको शायद मान लिया जाता। उसके बाद जो इंटॉलरेंस है इसने फिर बाद में पाकिस्तान को दो हिस्सों में तकसीम किया कि पाकिस्तान में इंतखाबात हुए और उनके नताइज जो हैं वो तस्लीम नहीं किए गए और हमारी दो बड़ी सियासी पार्टियों में और फौज में तसादुम हुआ और दो हिस्सों में तकसीम हो गया मुल्क जबरन। इंडियन अग्रेशन की वजह से, जबकि पाकिस्तान जो तख्लीक हुआ था वो जबरन नहीं हुआ था, वो इत्तेफाक राय से हुआ था, कंसेंसस से। लेकिन वो एक मिलिट्री इंटरवेंशन के नतीजे में हुआ। अब ये जो इंटॉलरेंस है उसमें इंडिया ने यानी पाकिस्तान बनते ही उसका मदारा ये हुआ जो कश्मीर के ऊपर उन्होंने कब्जा किया। और जब यूएनओ में मामला पहुंचा तो यूएनओ रेजोल्यूशंस को उन्होंने मान लिया कि ये प्लेबिसिट होगी, यहां के लोग फैसला करेंगे। लेकिन उसके बाद इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने वो सब यकीन दहानी के बावजूद उसको तस्लीम नहीं किया और अमलन आज तक कश्मीर के लोगों को वो उनका हक नहीं मिल सका कि वो अपने मुस्तकबिल का फैसला कर सके। इसने जनूबी एशिया में एक मुस्तकिल जो तनाज़ा है उसको जन्म दिया और आज भी पूरा खित्ता जो है उसकी वजह से एक कोऑपरेशन जो है वो कर नहीं पा रहा है एक दूसरे के साथ। और अब जो इंटॉलरेंस है, अब इंडियन सोसाइटी के अंदर आप देखें तो वहां उनकी जो जमहूरियत है वो अब अक्सरियत की आमरियत में तब्दील हो रही है। अक्सरियत का जत्था बना, क्योंकि जो हमारा पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट है वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी पॉलिटिक्स को बेस करता है। उसमें कोई मेजॉरिटी, जिसके पास फर्स्ट पास द पोल जिसे कहते हैं, तो बाद वक़्त मिनॉरिटी जो है वो हुकूमत बनाने में कामयाब हो जाती है। और अक्सर ऐसा होता है कि जो मेजॉरिटी जो है वो ऐवान से बाहर रह जाती है, उसकी रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं हो पाती। तो इंडिया में इस वक्त मजहब की बुनियाद पर एक जत्था बनाकर उसको पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का नाम दिया गया है और मिनॉरिटीज का जीना हराम हुआ है। तो इंडियन जमहूरियत जो है उसको एक दाखिली चैलेंज दरपेश है। और इस तरीके से आप देखें कि कश्मीर का मसला जो है, यानी कश्मीर को इंडियन यूनियन का हिस्सा बना लिया गया है, इंटरनेशनल कमिटमेंट्स को एक तरफ रखते हुए और अपने दस्तूर को भी वायलेट करते हुए। दूसरी तरफ देखें बांग्लादेश में इलेक्शन हुआ है, अपोजिशन ने बाइकाट किया है और अपोजिशन के लीडर और बड़े पैमाने पर वर्कर्स जो है जेलों में हैं। पाकिस्तान में इंतखाब हो रहा है, लेकिन एक बड़ी पार्टी के लीडर जेल में है, उसके पास सिंबल नहीं है। जो भी कानून हमने बनाए हैं उनको जिस तरह भी अप्लाई किया जाए, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली बात यह है कि एक बड़ी पार्टी जो है पार्टी के तौर पर इलेक्शन में नहीं है। और अगर हम अपने अफगानिस्तान में जाएं तो अफगानिस्तान की हुकूमत इस वक्त जो है उसको बाकी 7 मुल्क हैं जो साथ के, उनकी ऑफिशियल रिकॉग्निशन ही हासिल नहीं है। यानी अफगानिस्तान में जो हुकूमत इस वक्त कायम है उसको किसी भी सार्क मुल्क ने ऑफिशियली रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया हुआ। वो बिलफेल एक हुकूमत है, इसलिए उसको साथ नहीं किया जा रहा है। तो साउथ एशिया जो है उसको एक बड़ा चैलेंज, दाखिली चैलेंज दरपेश है। एक तो मुख्तलिफ ममालिक के दरमियान, जो उनके अंदर और उनके बाहर दरमियान, मुल्कों के दरमियान और मुल्कों के दाखिली उसके अंदर अदम बर्दाश्त जो है उसने पूरे खित्ते को अपनी लपेट में रखा है। इसका और जो हमारे सियासी रहनुमा है, जब वो मुल्क के अंदर जो मसाइल हैं वो तय करने की सलाहियत नहीं रखते, तो जो मुल्कों के दरमियान तनाज़ात हैं वो कैसे तय करेंगे और कैसे सलाहियत रखेंगे। ये एक बड़ा चैलेंज हमें दरपेश है। पाकिस्तान में हमारी सियासी जमातें जो हैं वो बार बार एक दूसरे से टकराती हैं और माशाल्लाह की नौबत आती है। उनके टकराव ने पाकिस्तान को 2 हिस्सों में तकसीम किया है और आज भी पाकिस्तान में हम जो इलेक्शन आ रहे हैं उनका इनअकाद ऐसे नहीं कर पा रहे कि उनके कवायद और रवाबत पर, उनके मामलात पर, उनके माहौल पर कोई कंसेंसस हो, नहीं है। और अफगानिस्तान को आप देखें, जो 8वां मुल्क है हमारी इस साउथ एशियन बरादरी का, उसमें तो कोई चीज अभी तय ही नहीं है, कोई कंसेंसस डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है, कोई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन नहीं है। वहां तो अभी तक एक मुसल्लह जद्दोजहद जो है वो बिल्कुल मुकम्मल तौर पर खत्म नहीं हो सकी और क्या मालूम कि किस वक्त तक, कब तक वो वहां को सूरत गरी होगी एक मुल्क की और उसके दस्तूर। तो साउथ एशिया जो है उसको एक सब्र की, तहम्मुल की, उसकी लीडरशिप का एक बड़ा चैलेंज है। देखिए ये वो खित्ता है जहां 2 एटमी ताकतें जो है अपना वजूद रखती हैं, भारत और पाकिस्तान, और दोनों के दरमियान एक बड़ा तनाज़ा मौजूद है कश्मीर का मसला। इस वजह से और दहशतगर्दी का जो सामना करना पड़ा है उसको, और अभी तक वो उसे मुकम्मल तौर पर काबू नहीं पे आ जा सका। और अब पाकिस्तान में आप देखें तो अफगान मुहाजिरीन, 40 लाख अफगान मुहाजिरीन आज भी पाकिस्तान में मौजूद है। और ये वो मसाइल हैं जिनकी वजह से ये खित्ता जो है तरक्की की दौर में पीछे रह रहा है। اور بھارت جو دعویٰ کر رہا ہے کہ وہاں جو گروتھ ریٹ ہے ان کی اکانومی کا وہ دوسرے ملکوں کے مقابلے میں زیادہ ہے، لیکن وہاں بھی جو داخلی تصادم ہے اور داخلی عدم برداشت ہے، اس نے ایک بڑا چیلنج جو ہے ان کو درپیش کر رکھا ہے۔ تو آج جنوبی ایشیا کے حوالے سے میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ جو ہماری لیڈرشپ ہے ملکوں کے اندر ہے، سری لنکا کا آپ دیکھا، سری لنکا میں بھی ایک بحران کا عالم رہا ہے اور بڑی مشکل سے اس میں سے کچھ نکلنے میں کامیاب ہوا ہے۔ باقی مالدیپ میں بھی ایک کشمکش چل رہی ہے، اور بھوٹان اور جو نیپال ہے، نیپال میں بھی ایک کشمکش چلتی رہتی ہے، لیکن ان کا چھوٹے ممالک ہیں تو اس طرح وہ امپیکٹ نہیں ہوتا پورے خطے پر جس طرح کے بڑے ممالک کا ہوتا ہے۔ تو ضرورت اس بات کی ہے کہ ملکوں کے اندر بھی اور ملکوں سے باہر بھی ہم تحمل کو اور برداشت کو پروموٹ کریں۔ ہمیں اپنے داخلی معاملات جو ہیں وہ بھی آپس میں مل بیٹھ کر طے کرنے چاہیے۔ اگر پاکستان کے اندر اور بنگلہ دیش کے اندر وہاں کی سیاسی قیادتیں اپنے معاملات طے نہیں کر سکتی، تنازعات طے نہیں کر سکتی، تو آپ مجھے بتائیں کہ ملکوں کے درمیان جو لیڈرشپس ہیں ان سے ہم کیسے یہ توقع رکھتے ہیں کہ وہ آپس میں بیٹھ کے تنازع طے کر لیں۔ تو جنوبی ایشیا میں جو کچھ بھی اس وقت ہو رہا ہے اور جو سیاسی رجحانات پرورش پا رہے ہیں، ان کے لیے جو ہماری لیڈرشپ ہیں ان کو اس طرف متوجہ ہونے کی ضرورت ہے، ایک دوسرے کو برداشت کرنے کی ضرورت ہے۔ اگر عمران خان اور ان کے مخالف اور حسینہ واجد اور ان کے مخالف اور مودی اور ان کے مخالف ایک دوسرے کو تسلیم نہیں کریں گے، اسپیس نہیں دیں گے، ان کے حقوق کا احترام نہیں کریں گے، تو پھر ملکی سطح پر دو ملکوں کے درمیان کے تنازعات کیسے ختم ہوں گے؟ ایک جنوبی ایشیا کو ایک داخلی بحران بھی درپیش ہے، عدم برداشت کا، اور خارجی بحران بھی درپیش ہے، اور جب تک پاکستان اور بھارت کے درمیان تنازع کشمیر ختم نہیں ہوتا یا اس کا کوئی روڈ میپ نہیں بنایا جاتا یا دونوں ملک اتفاق رائے سے کوئی مستقبل کی صورت گری کرنے میں کامیاب نہیں ہوتے، اس وقت تک جنوبی ایشیا میں تصادم کی کیفیت رہے گی، تناؤ رہے گا، اور اس کا جو کوآپریشن ہے، تعاون ہے ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ، اور جو معاشی ترقی کا خواب ہے وہ پورا نہیں ہو سکے گا۔ اب ہم اس چیلنج سے کب اور کس طرح عہدہ برا ہوں گے؟ بالکل مایوس نہیں ہونا چاہیے۔ بار بار مواقع آئے ہیں، جب واجپئی پاکستان آئے اس وقت ایک موقع پیدا ہوا، جب مشرف اور منموہن سنگھ کے درمیان معاملہ ہوا اس وقت بھی ایک موقع پیدا ہوا، اور لیکن وہ مواقع جو ہیں وہ ضائع ہو گئے۔ ہمیں دوبارہ کوشش کرنی چاہیے کہ ہم بات چیت کے ذریعے سے اپنے داخلی مسائل پر بھی قابو پائیں اور اپنے خارجی مسائل پر قابو پائیں۔ اگر یہ راستہ اختیار نہیں کریں گے تو جنوبی ایشیا خطے کے طور پر آگے بڑھنے کا جو خواب ہم دیکھ رہے ہیں وہ شرمندہ تعبیر نہیں ہو سکتی۔
Indeed, it was a thought-provoking talk. Now, I would humbly request Professor Dr. Shagufta Naz to please come here and say a token of words.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم، بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔ بہت معزز اسٹیج ممبران جو تشریف رکھتے ہیں یہاں پہ، I welcome to all of you, respected Mujibur Rahman Shami Sahab, Dr. Hassan Askari Sahab, Dr. Iram Khalid जो अपने मेके में तशरीफ लाए हैं, उनके लिए भी बहुत वेलकम। और डॉक्टर साहब जिन्होंने बड़े खूबसूरती से सी पैक के मुख्तलिफ जो एस्पेक्ट्स हैं उनके ऊपर बात की, डॉक्टर आयशा शहजाद और हमारे डीन डॉक्टर अफसल and my very dear students and faculty, Assalamu alaikum and warm welcome to all of you. बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक जो था वो सिलेक्ट किया डॉक्टर आयशा ने फॉर दिस कॉन्फ्रेंस, और इसके ऊपर जो हमारे स्पीकर हैं उन्होंने अपने अपने अंदाज से बहुत खूबसूरत इसके ऊपर हमें एनलाइटन किया। और एज अ पॉलिटिकल साइंस स्टूडेंट्स आप लोगों को ज़ाहिर है काफ़ी सारी जो मालूमात हैं वो मिली होंगी, लेकिन जो सबसे अहम बात डॉक्टर मुजीबुर रहमान शामी साहब ने की वो है टॉलरेंस एंड कंसेंसस। अगर लाइफ में हम एज ए इंडिविजुअल भी इस चीज़ को अटेन कर लेते हैं तो मेरा ख्याल है कि हमारी लाइफ बहुत कंफर्टेबल होगी। और ये ऐसे नहीं आ जाता बैठे बैठाए। अगर आप तालीम हासिल करेंगे, अच्छे अंदाज से आप आगे बढ़ेंगे, ना सिर्फ दीनी और दुनियावी दोनों, तो तब एक जो आपकी पर्सनैलिटी है वो कंप्लीट होगी। और फिर आप में टॉलरेंस आएगा एज ए इंडिविजुअल, और जब एज ए इंडिविजुअल टॉलरेंस आएगा तो डेफिनेटली वी आर द पार्ट ऑफ सोसाइटी। जब हर इंडिविजुअल अपने आप में मुकम्मल होगा और वो बिल्कुल उसके अंदर सारे कैरेक्टर्स ऐसे होंगे जो एक इस्लामिक जो हमारा रिलीजन है उसके मुताबिक होंगे, तो डेफिनेटली हमारी सोसाइटी खुद ब खुद सारी की सारी एनलाइटन भी होगी और टॉलरेंस भी उसमें आ जाएगा। तो मेरी आप सबसे बच्चों बेटियों यही रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप जैसे शामी साहब ने फरमाया कि आप कंसेंसस के साथ हर इशू को रिजॉल्व करने की कोशिश करें ऑन योर इंडिविजुअल लेवल। आपकी एजुकेशन, आपकी ये यूनिवर्सिटी, आप सबको ये ट्रेनिंग देने की हम कोशिश करते हैं कि आपको एक अच्छा सिटीज़न बना सकें। और वो इसी तरह होगा कि आप खुद एज ए इंडिविजुअल जो है अपने आप को प्रूव करेंगे कि आपके अंदर टॉलरेंस लेवल बहुत ज़्यादा है। तो टॉलरेंस एजुकेशन से आएगी मेरा ख्याल है। और हमारा जो साउथ एशियन रीजन है जिसके बहुत सारे मुझे तो देखने में मसाइल भी लग रहे हैं, इलेक्शन है उसके इश्यूज हैं, ना सिर्फ पाकिस्तान में, इंडिया में आप देख लें, जैसे मालदीव में देख लें, जैसे बांग्लादेश में देख लें, तो उसकी रीज़न यही है कि हमारा जो एजुकेशन लेवल है और एजुकेशन का जो नंबर है वो बहुत कम है। आप देखिए पाकिस्तान में आउट ऑफ स्कूल कितने स्टूडेंट्स हैं, मिलियंस में जो बच्चे हैं वो आउट ऑफ स्कूल हैं। जब वो आउट ऑफ स्कूल होंगे तो उनके अंदर कैसे तालीम तो होगी नहीं, टॉलरेंस कैसे आएगी। तो ये चीज़ें जो है मेरा ख्याल है कि हमें हमारी गवर्नमेंट्स को सबसे ज़्यादा एजुकेशन को फोकस करने की ज़रूरत है। अगर आप जो स्टूडेंट्स जो बच्चे आउट ऑफ स्कूल हैं, अगर हम सक्सेसफुल हो जाएं पूरे के पूरे उन बच्चों को स्कूल में लाने में, तो आप देखें कि हमारी टॉलरेंस लेवल किस कदर ज़्यादा बढ़ जाएगा। रीज़न इज़ दैट कि वो इतने एग्रेसिव होते हैं। आप उनसे स्ट्रीट में जो बच्चे फिर रहे होते हैं आप उनसे बात करके देखें, वो इतने एग्रेसिव होते हैं कि वो आपकी गाड़ी और आपकी चीज़ें आपसे छीनना चाहते हैं। वजह उसकी ये कि दे आर नॉट हैविंग द थिंग्स विच वी आर हैविंग। तो उसमें ये हमारी स्टेट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि एटलीस्ट FA तक जो तालीम है उसको लाजम करें और उसको फ्री करें। तो ये दोनों चीज़ें जब हमारे साउथ एशियन कंट्रीज में होंगी तो डेफिनेटली एक हम टॉलरेंट सोसाइटी को जो है वो परवान चढ़ाएंगे। और जब वो टॉलरेंट सोसाइटी जो है उसमें से जब हमारे लीडर इमर्ज होंगे तो वो डेफिनेटली बहुत बेहतर होंगे। और वही लीडर्स जब पार्लियामेंट बनाएंगे तो वो पार्लियामेंट जो होगी वो एक टॉलरेंट पार्लियामेंट होगी। अब तो देखें एक पार्टी जो है वो दूसरे पार्टी का मंशूर ही नहीं सुनना चाहती। हम घरों में देख लें, अगर हम एक मुस्लिम लीग का है हामी और एक PTI का है तो 2 मिनट में हमारी लड़ाई हो जाती है। हम कभी भी आराम से बात नहीं सुन सकते। रीज़न इज़ दैट कि हम बहुत एग्रेसिव एक तरह की नेशन है। तो हमारा ये एग्रेशन जो है उसको एक पॉजिटिव एनर्जी में हमें चेंज करना चाहिए। तो वो इसी तरह होगा जब हम टॉलरेंस लेवल अपना बढ़ाएंगे विद द हेल्प ऑफ एजुकेशन। हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी ने ये 1922 से ज़ाहिर इस्टेब्लिश्ड है, अब 100 ईयर सर हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी को हो चुके हैं, 101, और इसमें इसने जो फीमेल एजुकेशन में एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले किया है। बहुत सारे यहाँ के हमारे अलुमनाई जो हैं वो बहुत टॉप पोजीशंस के ऊपर हैं। हमारे इस वक्त हम 50 डिपार्टमेंट्स में BS की एजुकेशन दे रहे हैं और 28 में MS and PhD की। तो जो यूनिवर्सिटी रैंकिंग है उसमें भी हमारी पोजीशन बहुत बेहतर है, लेकिन मैं पर्टिकुलरली ये चाहती हूँ कि हमारी सक्सेस तब है हमारी मैनेजमेंट की, हमारी लीडरशिप की, जब हम जो हमारे आउटगोइंग स्टूडेंट्स हैं वो एक टॉलरेंट और बैलेंस्ड स्टूडेंट के तौर पे सोसाइटी को सर्व करें। क्योंकि जो एक फीमेल है वो ना सिर्फ वो एक इंडिविजुअल नहीं होती, बल्कि वो पूरे एक घर होती है, एक यूनिट की फाउंडेशन होती है। तो अगर वो टॉलरेंट होगी, वो एजुकेटेड होगी, तो डेफिनेटली उसके आगे जो आगे उसकी औलाद होगी, आगे उसके बच्चे होंगे, वो भी उसी तरह टॉलरेंट होंगे। तो मेरी आप सबसे ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि जो मेरे ख्याल में इस सारे जो भी हमने चैलेंजेस देखे हैं उसकी बेस लाइन ये है कि हमें अपने आउट ऑफ स्कूल चिल्ड्रंस को ख़त्म करना है, उनको स्कूल में वापस लाना है। इससे मेरा ख्याल है कि हम डेफिनेटली मूव फॉरवर्ड करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग।
Thank you so much. I invite Dr. Aisha Shehzad to say a word of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a great moment for me to express heartfelt gratitude to all our respected guests, who are the Vice Chancellor, especially our Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, all Deans, CODs, our dear students, and I think it's an immense pleasure for me, and we hope that we would continue the legacy of excellence and we could be able to contribute to the prestige of the university. Thank you very much for your gracious presence. Thanks a lot.
I request Vice Chancellor and Dean to present the token of appreciation to our esteemed guests. I request Dr. Khalid Bar to receive the token of appreciation. I request Dr. Iram Khali to receive the token of appreciation. I request Mr. Mujibur Rahman Shami to please receive the token of appreciation. I request Dr. Aisha to please give the token of appreciation to the worthy Vice Chancellor and the Dean, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Now, I would request all of the esteemed guests to please come on stage for the group photo.